Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to say something you probably thought you'd never hear me say ever again, for another Disgaea RPG video. This video is not going to be actually about Disgaea RPG, it's really about you guys. I feel a bit bad that the final video that I ever had in this channel was quite negative in relation to Disgaea RPG. Obviously we all know how it played out with Bolt Trend and the way that he ran the game into the ground, I want to say really. And really the last, I suppose, bit of legacy I have in this game after spending 2 years of making content for it was essentially telling you guys to save your money, and I'm glad I did that. I kind of feel like maybe if I didn't do that they may have tried to milk you a little bit longer, but obviously we know they didn't. They basically, their cards were shown, they knew, the community knew it was happening, and they obviously announced the closure. They were never planning more content, guys, it's just the way it was. They didn't pay for it, plain and simple. And yeah, what happened. But this video is not about Bolt Trend, so to hell with them, let's not talk about them anymore. It's about you guys. I wanted to basically take a few minutes to share a thanks to you guys, really. I started making content on YouTube properly about 3 years ago when I was part of the Duel community, and while I liked the game, I didn't really like the rat race that was content creation in that game. Now, I have a few games that I would say are my all-time favourite franchises, one of which being Final Fantasy, particularly Final Fantasy VII. It kind of came out during my formative years as a teenager, where when I saw Final Fantasy VII for the first time on the PlayStation, I had to get it. I had to. It was utterly fantastic. I've never hidden this fact. My favourite gaming franchise of all time is Street Fighter, which is kind of ironic considering the other game I'm making content on just now. But the second favourite game I've ever had would be Disgaea. I really get into tactical RPGs when I tried to branch out and play more Final Fantasy titles, and I played Final Fantasy Tactics, which I enjoyed, but it was a little bit dry. And then one day I seen this kind of quirky looking anime game that shared similar styles and similar gameplay as Final Fantasy Tactics, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go, and I absolutely fell in love with the franchise. To this day, Laharo and Co are still my favourite group in all of the games, with the cast of Final Fantasy Disgaea 4 coming in quite close. So making the transition over to this game was something that I was looking forward to do, and at the time my great friend Gacha Talks, who obviously for a while anyway had a big part in this community, me and him had spoken about it for a long time. It was like, this game's coming, I want to do it. He's like, I want to do it as well. So we both jumped on and we both started covering Disgaea. Now, as you guys know, that was a bit of a rocky journey. That was definitely a little bit of a rocky journey. Starting out, this game got a lot of hate. Rightfully so, to be fair. I mean, a lot of the things that people didn't like about the game, I completely understand. Things like no pity systems in place from the word go, the infamous rollback that I still feel was a bit overblown. It was only like 30 minutes, but it stuck forever, and it kind of helped halt the growth of this game, I feel anyway. Now, you guys who were around at the start knew that I was positive about the game, but not in the kind of shell way where I would just say everything was great when it wasn't, you know. My focus was, let's focus on what works, let's call out what doesn't work, and let's see if as a community we can make it better. And I feel like we did that. I feel like we did make this a better game. I feel like Bolt Trend, I said I wouldn't mention them again, but I have to, didn't capitalise on the opportunities that they had. They could have spent money on advertising, they could have done things better, but instead they went the very typical route of paying random streamers and content creators to promote the game, who did it for a paycheck but didn't care about it, and it did nothing to really grow the base of this game. Okay, like paying Dragon Ball creators to promote this, why do that? It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. But anyway, obviously, starting off, I want to say I was fortunate where I very early on, while people were still making content, I grew to be one of the more prominent content creators covering Disgaea RPG. And then obviously as those creators left, I was for a while the only content creator, because obviously Gacha Talk sadly passed away. Now during that time, I want to say that I feel like I made a connection with quite a lot of you guys in the community. There was a lot of regular commenters I would see coming along all the time, spending a lot of time sharing their thoughts, their love for Disgaea, their enjoyment of the content, their enjoyment of the game, the tips they had picked up. You know, it was a good community. It was a very, very good community. And while I've not really got time to single out every single person, and please, if I don't say your name here, don't feel bad. There's a few people in particular that I want to say helped me along the way with content creation, with things that I maybe didn't know about. JP, for example, because I don't speak Japanese and I don't read Japanese. And just one person in particular that done a lot more than you guys will ever really know. But I just want to give them a shout out and just say a little something personal to them, if that's okay with you guys. First off, I want to give a kind of shout out to Jin, Moot, and a lot of the other moderators on the main Discord. You guys had to put up with a lot. At times I caused a lot of that by telling people to go and blow up the Discord and cause a riot. You know, things like getting pity early and stuff like that. I may have incited a little bit of unrest, and you guys had to deal with the fallout. But you never ever really held it against me, and both of you would give me kind of insights to new content that I had maybe seen but didn't understand because I didn't play JP, and you would tell me how some of it worked, which was very handy, and it really did help me out with kind of growing the channel, because it gave me the opportunity to cover certain things a little bit earlier, you know, which was a great bonus to me, and I really appreciate you guys for that. I'm going to give a shout out to Miru as well, because he's a total ass, right? He's a moderator on my Discord as well, but he's got this love-hate relationship with me where he just loves to actually troll me. And you know what? I actually enjoy it. So Miru, shout out to you, mate. I also want to give a shout out to people like Izu. Izu is actually a funny guy. He, I want to call him a sweaty tryhard, to be honest. He wanted to win everything, you know? He absolutely wanted to win everything. And it was his driving force that pushed him forward in this game. But the thing is, apart from specific team builds he was going to use on certain content, he would always share his strategies. He would always say to people, this is the kind of alchemy you want on weapons, this is what you want to do here, and this is what you want to do there. And it really helped a lot of people grow, because he was really a driving force behind finding a lot of these little mechanics and stuff that a lot of us didn't realise were actually there in the game, you know. I want to give a shout out to Danny as well. Danny and the other content creators, but I'm going to say Danny particularly because I done a lot with Danny, like things like trying to help him as much as I could anyway with these podcasts, which was criminally underviewed. Guys should really have given that more of an opportunity and watched it a lot more. But just generally talking about the game, he had a genuine love, and he still does, for the Disgaea franchise, and I think he was, I don't want to say upset, but I was pretty gutted, I'll say, when, you know what I mean, things really started to go tits up, so to speak. I know all the content creators were, but Danny in particular was very into this game, and he really, really did enjoy it, so it's quite sad that it kind of ended like that, because he'd started to put a lot more effort into his channel and stuff, and he was trying to like grow it. I also want to give a shout out to Dollar. Dollar appeared on one of my videos to help me with a tier list. Dollar was just generally a really nice guy, chatting quite a lot, again, sharing strategies, talking about different things that would help in the game and stuff like that. But he helped me in ways because just having someone else who shares some of the same thoughts and values, you can kind of bounce ideas and stuff off them, and it can help with not only content, things like team building and strategizing and stuff like that. Most of all, there's one particular person that I really want to give a shout out to. I've mentioned this person quite a lot on the channel, but I want to give a shout out to Food Reef. Food Reef really actually helped with Disgaea more than you guys will realise. There was points in this game where I just wasn't feeling it. You know, I still enjoyed the game, but I really felt like I was going through the motions. And while never encouraging me to make content, because he always thought I should focus on me and on the channel, he really helped to rekindle my love for the game. I can't really explain what it was, but just simply talking about what he was doing in game, what he was finding fun, I had a purpose again, which was I wanted to try and do better than that. You know, I wanted to build a PvP team that could take him down. I wanted to build a raid team that could cap the action gauge and stuff like that, you know. Not only that, just on a more personal level, he was a guy that if ever I was just feeling down, I could talk to, you know, which is pretty rare, because some people, I don't really know what this is. Some people want to like talk to content creators as though they're fans, which I've never really liked, to be honest. I think I've been quite clear with you guys. I call you guys viewers, yeah, because you view my content, but I've never once referred to people as fans, because I don't understand why I would have fans. I'm just a person with a camera that makes videos, you know. But Foodreef was someone who always kind of took time out his day if I was maybe having, I want to say, anxiety issues and stuff like that in relation to content, in relation to how things were going, you know. And without him, I probably would have stopped making content for Disgaea probably 6 months to a year earlier, particularly when I was doing the dislike stuff. That's when it was really starting to get to me that, you know what, I'm struggling to do both things here. I've got to choose one or the other. What will I choose? So I want to give a massive shout out to Foodreef, because again, I mean, apart from that, like, this is nobody's business, but like when I was in hospital, he done, let's just say he done a lot to make sure I could still continue to make content for you guys, and I'll always appreciate that. I really will. But that's really it I want for the personal shout outs. As a community, I want to say thank you to all you guys, because you helped me build confidence to be myself, you know. If you look at my earlier videos, I was quite nervous. I was never trying to put on a persona, but I was never really confident enough to just be me, you know, and be the person that I am, say what I want, unfiltered, whether people like it or whether people don't. It's just literally me in the moment, and you guys gave me the confidence to do that. I don't think the Street Fighter community are quite used to that aspect of me yet, and some of them think like I'm a drama queen or whatever. Hopefully they one day come to realise that anything I do, anything I say, is because I'm trying to help the people that watch my content. Basically, I want you guys to always have the best experience possible, whether it be in the game, from the publishers of the game. That's all I ever really wanted, you know. Obviously it was a big risk I took with regards to talking about what was happening at the end of this game. I could have just continued to make content, you know, and just kept my mouth shut like a lot of people would probably do, but I didn't want to do that. Even if I could save you guys $50 or $100, pounds, yen, shekels, whatever currency you use, rupees, is that Zelda? Rubles? I don't even know. But anyway, if I could do that, I feel like the last impact I would have had on this community was positive, because I had so much guilt, to be honest, because I had spent the last few months essentially saying to you guys how important units like Rubians were going to be. And I know that, unfortunately, because of me, some of you guys will have spent money on the likes of Rubians. I had no clue. Honestly, up to that point, I had no clue whatsoever that it was going to happen. I thought we would have at least as long as JP, right? I thought maybe we would not get things like Attack on Titan, and I thought that could hurt the game, but never. There was no hints at all. I didn't think they were just going to pull the plug at the update. The first hint we got was when Makoto and Pei were leaving, and almost immediately I started to dig, and that's when I started to figure out what was going on. And once I had enough evidence, I told you guys. And unfortunately, no matter what happened, even if I had decided to jump the gun and tell you earlier, it would have still been after Rubians, so I could never have stopped you guys from saving that money. And that kind of annoys me a bit, because I don't want to feel responsible for you guys spending money on something that just literally died a few months later. You mean characters like Rubians, characters like Overlord Metalia, they're worthless. They were everything's worthless, right? But those characters in particular were worthless because you never ever really got a chance to use them in anything. And for that, I feel a bit betrayed by Bolt Trend, you know. Obviously all games do this. They know they're going to close and they will let you spend money until the very last minute. But in a lot of ways, while never asking me to make content, because they never did, I still feel used a bit by Bolt Trend because they knew I was going to go and promote these units, because I told them for months these units are amazing. You need to really put a good focus on this Witch in the 100 Night celebration. It's something that can help bring players back in, boost the game's popularity. So they knew that I was going to speak honestly about how important these units were, and for that I feel like they kind of used me a little bit, but there's no point in dwelling on it. I just wanted to take the time to put a more positive video out there. Again, thanking you guys. Anything I've not said in this video, it's just because I've really not... I never thought about this before I hit record. I never do. I hit record, I start talking, what comes out my mouth is usually verbal diarrhea, but we get there in the end. And after 15 minutes, 16 minutes, we're just about to get to the end. So some people also ask why I don't cover JP. Let me really quickly cover that off. There's two reasons actually. One, the pit's too high. The pit's too high and the rates are too low compared to global, and it's just too expensive. It costs too much money, and I'm too used to having units, and I couldn't do JP. I couldn't, not long form anyway. Secondly, I always felt like it would be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, you know. You're kind of dealing with the fact that this game that you've played for 2 years, potentially spent a lot of money on, is closing down. And then the guy who made content for it for all that time just suddenly goes, oh well, I'm just going to switch over and start covering JP content, come and watch that instead. To me, that seems like a bit of a slap in the face, so I decided not to do that, and that's part of the reason why you don't see any Japanese content for this game on the channel. I do miss Disgaea, honestly I do. I've tried a few gacha games since then. Currently I'm playing Street Fighter Duel, and to be honest, if it wasn't for the IP, I don't know if I would continue to play Street Fighter Duel, because they've made some really sketchy decisions with regards to monetization and stuff like that. But I love Street Fighter. I absolutely love Street Fighter, and that's the reason I'm still playing it right now. But I miss how accessible, how it wasn't a whale fest like Disgaea RPG. You know, a lot of the game basically revolved around grinding and gear, and that wasn't monetized. You couldn't buy better gear, you had to earn better gear, and you had to grind to make that gear even better. You could not spend money to make that happen, which meant that you didn't always have to chase after the meta of a unit here and there, because more often than not, it was the gear that was more important than the unit. And that is something that I really like about Disgaea, and I really think, honestly, if a developer took Disgaea RPG, put a franchise in that system that was more widely popular, I think it could, that system, the way that Disgaea worked, I think it could be one of the most popular gacha games out there, because it would allow them to make money, it would allow people to feel like they had a chance if they weren't a whale, and honestly, I think it was a great game, had great systems, and I'm really going to miss it. And I know a lot of you guys are as well, because I keep seeing, is there anything out there that's like Disgaea RPG? And honestly, there's not. There might be a few games, right, but I've not tried them. But overall, there you go, you get one last cameo from one of my children. This is Alexander, not William. It's usually William that appears in the videos. But no, ultimately, I just wanted to take the time in this video to say thank you guys for everything. It's been a long 2 years. Unfortunately, it came to a very abrupt end, a very sad end, and I know that most of you won't see this video because you've probably stopped looking for Disgaea RPG content, you've probably stopped watching me, which is fine. But for those of you that do still lurk, I know that you're probably not watching my content now because it doesn't interest you, and that's fine. But I still want to take the time to say thank you for all the times you did watch my content. It's been a fun ride. It's unfortunately come to an end, and yeah, if one day I can find something that resonates with you guys, I really hope to see you again. But for everything up to this point, I just want to again say thank you very much. And Disgaea RPG community, for the last time, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.